Welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man Frank Scalish back from the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, and I'm trying to do 9 things at once.
I know you are. I'm watching you laughing because I can't do one thing at once.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff going on over here, Frank. We got a bunch of stuff for the show. I could potentially see this being one of the best Day 4s in history, but like I said, 10 things at once right now.
I'm laughing because I can barely get my computer turned on.
Well, I've got a system, and then I'm running the PC with the dual screens and all sorts of stuff over here. And one of the joys is every once in a while you'll just turn your computer on, and it'll say like, "Hey, we're doing a reboot."
Yeah, we're doing an upgrade.
Yeah, so we got through it. We got everything good to go. So let's lay out the show.
All right.
We've got a drop. We've got a recap. We've got fishing trip information, and we have a Scalish related tournament announcement.
Very good. Very good. Very good syllabus, Matt.
I should have written that down. Okay, we'll go with it in order right here.
Okay, so today is the day of the brand new signature series first drop.
That snuck up on me, Frank. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. Me too. I was all of a sudden it was here, and I'm glad it's here because I have some really cool colors in there and some fun stuff. Like today's really a fun color. I designed it with October in mind. Should we do it? I have the original.
Yeah, let's do it. It's October, so we are focusing on, how do I say this politically correct? Apparently we're going for trendy East Coast college girls. Aren't they the ones that love pumpkin spice?
Pumpkin spice, baby. It's the pumpkin spice color is coming out in the Norman Fat Boy. It is out right now. Here's the color. It was designed specifically with October in mind. A little pumpkin action. The pumpkin.
That's so freaking cool. And
that's sweet.
And then if you scratch, it's a
scratch.
It's a scratch and sniff, right?
Yeah.
With all the familiar colors of fall or flavors of fall.
100%. If that's what you say, Matt, that's what it is. But so I designed it kind of like a pumpkin, a carved pumpkin. So you got the candle behind the eyes. You have the lighter interior of the pumpkin. You have the actual pumpkin color itself. This bait is really cool. I did it last year. I actually did this. I'll tell you when I did it. I have it on here. Okay. I did it October 10th of 2024 because everybody was making a big deal about pumpkin spice, all the coffee companies, the ice cream companies, the beer companies. And I'm like, I'm not being left out of this party. I'm doing pumpkin spice. And so this thing's been sitting for a year waiting for this day, which is great.
Let me X out of some of these screens here because I was trying to take care of some other business that was unrelated to lure. Like I said, I got a million things dropping right now. Dude, it's nuts. So I leave this afternoon. My buddy Adam Bartuzik from the Crappie Chronicles is getting married tomorrow. My truck was in the shop for a new whatever. You know what was wrong with it? A lifter?
Yeah.
And so I'm in a Daewoo Lanos or a Hyundai. I'm in something that's the tiniest car I've ever seen in my life. So I had to get an Uber, the only Uber in the entire town, to pick up that car. But I also have to get packed because Matt Steffan and I are doing our In Fisherman Master Angler Quest on that Sunday through Thursday. Then CTL launches the following week, along with the Fishing Chaos BTL in St. Jude tournament. And then 6 days after that, I get married. And then the next day we go on a 5-day honeymoon, and then I come back anyway. So it's all good things, Frank.
So in other words, you're not gonna be sitting still for 3 weeks, a month.
Correct.
Yeah, you're gonna be gone.
But here we go. There it is. It just dropped. That's why we kind of wanted to show this, because it literally dropped. Now, 949, the Frank Scalish, the pumpkin spice that you just showed, limited run. We're back into the year where a lot of people can't fish, but they can spend money for the times that they plan on fishing. You could spend less money if you use capital BTL25 at checkout, 15% off of all regularly priced items. So
100%.
that's that. Is there a video on this one? I don't see a video.
No. No video. Kind of crept up on us. As usual, I was 100% unprepared.
Dude, that is a phenomenal bait right there. So a little bit of so it's like a mixture of warmouth elements, bluegill elements, crawfish elements. It's like I've never seen one this color, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's a cool color, and honestly, if you're gonna fish the thing, I think it'd fish like crazy in the spring, the cold water months, and in the fall on the drawdown lakes. When they draw down the lakes, all right, here's what happens up here. We have some lakes that are they're just rocky lakes. Okay, there's no grass in them, 100% pure structure, rock oriented.
Yep.
So when they start to drop the water level, all the crayfish that are in the shallow flat rock, they start to come out and go down with the water. So all of a sudden you have where these crayfish are spread out on these shallow flats. Now all of a sudden they're all getting concentrated and they're dropping off into the first break off the flat. It can be an astronomical time of year, especially for square bills, when you hit it right when they're drawing the lake down, because that's when all the crayfish start backing out. Once the lake's been down for a while, they settle into the new environment and they're not concentrated as much. It's a really unique, it's a unique event that happens. And the coolest thing with crayfish that I found was one time I was steelhead fishing, of all things. And it was late November. We had about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, and I was walking across a flat shale. It's basically this river. There's a flat shale shelf, and then right on the edge of the shale where it was softer, the water grooved what we call plunge holes. So it'll be knee deep almost all the way across the river, and then you'll have a 6-foot hole that just plunges right down where the water carved through it, right? So it was late November, a lot of snow. I'm steelhead fishing, and I'm having a tough time catching them. And I just was looking down at the shale because I didn't want to step in one of the holes. I was looking down at the shale, and there were hundreds and hundreds of crayfish on this shale flat. I don't know what they were eating, maybe the algae. I don't know what was going on, but I've never seen that many doing this at one time. And so I changed my fly pattern to an olive and brown articulated sculpin.
Okay.
And I literally roll cast it across the river to the second shale flat, so I could swing the sculpin over the plunge hole and let it roll off the edge of it. And I started mashing the steelhead, because whatever this crayfish migration was, or whatever they were doing, all the steelhead were keyed in on that. And it turned a tough day into one of the best, easiest steelhead fishing days ever, just by noticing that. The point being is this event will occur on a drawdown as soon as the lake starts coming down. If you're a week after, 5 days after, it's too late, because the crayfish settle down, they spread out, they go do their thing again. It's a very timed element. So it's pretty cool.
Dude, those sculpin are something else. I don't think the vast majority of the country, if you're not in sculpin territory, realize how many trophy bass, trout, not salmon, but mainly bass and trout in certain parts of the country, like a sculpin is. is basically like a native goby, I guess would be the
Oh
best way
yeah.
to describe it.
Yeah, they're bottom huggers. They scoot along the bottom. They use their big fins to, just
Mm-hmm.
cross the bottom. It's really it's a cool fish. It's real. I had them in my aquarium at one time. They're
All right.
pretty sweet.
Something else that's really cool, which I think I have here, is St. Jude is big. BTL has been incredible fan base about supporting St. Jude, but one of the really cool things was last year, Frank Scalish Jr. and my buddy Jarrett Juice from Juice's Jigs are best friends now.
You're out, Matt. They squeeze you right
that
out.
That seems to happen all the time with me. It's all good though. But they fish the St. Jude, and then they do the fundraising for that St. Jude that's coming up next May. I think Juice and Frankie are kind of making that an annual thing. Some people do pub crawls. We sell T-shirts. We're doing an online tournament, but Frankie is actually hosting a tournament coming up in November out of Lake Erie with a 50%.
It's on Portage Lakes. It's not
Portage Lakes. My
Portage
bad.
Lakes. Yeah, it's not.
Oh,
on
I guess
Lake Erie.
November 1st out of Lake Erie would be pretty western.
Yeah, it'd be pretty western.
But if you're in that area, and this all just dropped in the last couple days, you can get on Frank Scale. There's the contact info for him. You can also get on the on his Instagram, Facebook pages. There's a QR code for more information for registration to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the QR code is if you can't participate in the event, or you don't want to participate in the event, but you want to donate money, you could scan the QR code and do a small donation to help Juice and Frankie get they won't have the first boat draw after your thing breaks, but to get them close in the top for boat draw.
Are you going to fish it? Or are you out of town? When you're out of town?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fish that one or not. I'm going to see. I may show up for the weigh-in. And help them out at the weigh-in.
Celebrity appearance.
Yeah, celebrity appearance.
But Frank Jr.'s Instagram is
Scalish _Jr.
Yep, Scalish _Jr. There's all the information for it right there that you can get on and look at on Instagram if you're in that area and want to help support St. Jude and get a little late tournament, kind of probably the last tournament for a lot of guys.
Yeah, it'll be. I'll be really honest with you. That lake, I know that lake well. That lake will fish like mad that time of year.
Largemouth, smallmouth.
Largemouth. There's no smallmouth in the place. It'll be a largemouth tournament, and it will fish. It's one of my favorite lakes in the cold.
There's an idea from Nick. You should go MC it.
Yeah, I emceed one event for Triton one time. It was so bad.
What?
It was so bad, dude.
How did it go bad?
I'm going to tell you guys the story, and I know it hardly matters anymore. It's so water under the pit. Anyway, there was a tournament on Kentucky Lake, and Triton asked me to go MC the event. So I said, yeah, no problem. I said, I'm going to bring my son, Frankie, with me. He's there like, yeah, cool, bring him. It'll be great. So I get Frankie. We pack up. We haul across the country. We get to Kentucky Lake, and I got to MC this event, and it was sponsored by the radio station Froggy. And so I get there and I'm not nervous or anything. Frankie and I packed a couple of fishing rods. The hotel we stayed at had a big pond out back. And of course we got there and it was raining, and the first thing he's like, let's go catch fish. And I said, all right, let's go. So we go to the pond and we start whacking largemouth on little 1/4 ounce spinner baits, and it was fun. But anyway, we get to the event and I'm thinking, it's a tournament. So I'm thinking I'm going to be on the weigh-in stage and I'll get to interact with the guys that caught the fish. So it'll be easy because I don't know anybody that's in it. Clearly, because I'm not from there. I don't know anybody that's in it, so I'll be able to ask them questions and I can keep things moving.
Yeah.
No. So they had me on a stage 30 yards from the weigh-in stage.
I think you've never actually dove into this because I think you have some PTSD from it. So I'm looking
I
forward
do.
to this.
I was mortified. So I'm not even near I'm not even near the anglers. Like, I'm so far away from the anglers, I could barely see their weights. Okay. I have no contact with the anglers, and I'm just standing up there like a Nimrod going, those are big bass. You know what I mean? What am I going to say? I can't ask them, hey, how deep were they? What were you getting them on? I can't ask them nothing. I'm not there. I'm there, but I'm like, it was horrible. When I say horrible, I mean horrible. They asked me never to come back.
Like literally asked you to never come back.
Yeah, like literally told Triton, don't ever send him here again. That's how bad it was. So that when I had to promote the radio station, I was like, I'd be like, here we are at the Frog. And they'd be like, it's Froggy. And I'd be like, it's the Frog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, it was horrible. It was, when I say horrible, I was so embarrassed. I could not recover from it because I was not involved. I was not with the anglers. I was not involved in this thing. I was just standing there. It was brutal, man. And Frankie's like, Dad, that didn't go so good.
I feel bad for you. Oh my gosh.
I was mortified, man.
Let's
I
yeah,
was
you mentioned that
mortified.
story, but never told it. Well, you want to talk about some good stuff then?
Yeah, dude,
All
let's
right.
do this.
So we got to see each other last Wednesday and Thursday, Bass Fishing Hall of Fame banquet, Wonders of Wildlife, Johnny Morris. You were a guest of Pradco and LureNet for the 5 signature series. And I'm actually going to play a little 3-minute clip from the actual Hall of Fame, which is really, really cool with Mr. Stanton talking about all the money that the signature series lures that you painted raised for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. What were your initial thoughts of it, Frank?
Well, first of all, I have to be honest with you. I've been to that Springfield Bass Pro Shop a lot. Okay. The only thing I ever did there was ran in, bought rain gear and tackle. I've never ventured into this building except right to the tackle. So Rach and I had pretty much a morning to waste. So we decided to go through the aquarium there. I heard it was really cool. I never have seen it. I've been to aquariums, a lot of aquariums all over the country. And I was absolutely blown away. It took us almost 2 hours to go through this aquarium. It literally is 3 stories tall. You wander through all these little passages, and they have aquariums everywhere. Clearly, it's an aquarium. And some of the aquariums are 3 stories tall. Here was the cool thing about it. In saltwater and freshwater too, you have bottom dwellers, you have mid-water column dwellers, and you have surface dwellers.
It's kind of like in life, in society.
It's society, right? Exactly. Yes, exactly. And there's probably more bottom dwellers nowadays, but at any rate, so the coolest thing about the ocean is a lot of these fish species literally occupy that column. That's where they live. That's their whole thing. Okay. So as you go through this thing and you're on the ground floor and you're looking at the bottom, you're seeing the bottom dwellers in the ocean. You're seeing the fish that relate to, just the bottom water column. As you go up and you see the other parts of this 3-story thing, you see the mid-water column ones, and then when you get to the top, you see the ones that occupy the top of the water column, and it is so awesome. It's so cool. Yeah, I just think it was fascinating. I think the thing won best aquarium
7 years in a row. by the readers or viewers' vote in USA Today.
Yeah, and I see why.
But the cool thing about it is in the aquarium, there's like a whole bottom section that they've done some remodeling. So everybody who goes through that aquarium and walks through it has to walk through the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the historical fishing museum.
Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. So the night before the night of the Hall of Fame, there's a plaque unveiling ceremony. So like the aquarium is closed, and like they took you and your wife kind of through it where everything's dark, and you're walking down the halls. And you get down into the Hall of Fame, and then Craig Lamb and Randy and representative from from William Shakespeare Jr. 100 years ago was there for it. But I'm going to show probably one of the rarest photos ever. We had a big talk about, what kind of suit are we going to go with you, Frank? And so Pradco kind of hug you out to dry on the details of this. You did.
I did not get a lot of the details. Probably because they assumed I knew.
Yeah, they just said, "Hey, here it is.
Yeah,
you're our guest. We're doing a bunch of stuff with the lures. We'll see you Thursday."
Yeah, and so I'm thinking like the classic Bass Hall of Fame when we did it at the classic.
Yeah, mixer.
I'll show up jeans and a button down, and it'll be good, man. It'll be all good. And Matt's like, "No, dude, you need a suit."
Yeah. So there it is, right there. There we are in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame for the plaque unveiling ceremony. There's Frank and I suited up,
and it was so hot in there, dude. It got so when everybody piled into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame area, it must have escalated 20 degrees in there because of all the people that were there.
Yeah.
It was hot, man, and I was
I'm being dead serious here. Is that an Italian suit?
No, I have my Italian suits, and I don't have enough material to have them fitted again.
I gotcha. But that does look like an Italian silk tie.
That is 100%.
Like in person, the picture doesn't do the tie justice. Like you could tell that was.
Oh yeah.
You have worn that in the past when you meant business.
Oh yeah, I have. I back in the day, I used to always wear suits and ties, and I have a tie fetish. And so I would, okay, keep it clean for the kids. I have
Drunkwood's going, oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I forget it now. It's over. Drunkwood's got a field day now. So the truth of the matter is I had a tie fetish. So I only bought the best of the best ties, and they had to be different. Like I didn't have a standard, maroon tie. A standard blue tie. They had to be out there, and so a lot of my ties cost, almost as much as a suit jacket. Yeah, man. I love ties. I have the coolest tie collection.
One of the cool things, if you look at the top left of that behind us, just a little nugget right here. You see the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame big logo up on the wall up there, and then the red jacket. If you look just to the left of that jacket, that is actually Harold Allen, who is inducted into the Hall of Fame, who Mark Jeffries is the one who gave the nickname The Legend, who did the wide open on location coverage for 7 or 8 years at every Elite Series event through Bass Zone, and then who I spent hundreds of days on the water with covering when we did live on location coverage of the Bass Zone back in 2008 through 2014.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to hang out with Harold, and he was one of the funniest people on earth.
Yeah. So one of the other cool things is, those signature series baits that raise money for the Hall of Fame. One of the biggest fundraisers for it this year was a check that Pradco was able to present to the Hall of Fame there in front of the 300 people. It's about a 2.5 minute clip, but I've got it queued up, and I think I want to run kind of that. I think I got the audio queued up. to where we have it right here. So we'll see as long as we can hear it. Yeah, here we go.
Thanks, Dave.
You hear that,
So,
Frank?
Yeah.
To celebrate the Hall of Fame this year, Pradco worked with some members of the first class of the Hall of Fame 25 years ago. And we're going to recognize Bobby Murray, Larry Nixon, Rick Clunn, and Roland Martin, who are here, and then Bill Dance, who is not here. Those 5 gentlemen lent their names to a lure program, and they work with master lure designer Frank Scalish. Frank, raise your hand. He's here with his wife Rachel from Ohio. Y'all come on up here with the check, guys. And I want to invite John Mazurkowicz, president of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, to come up. Got Chad Warner, our VP of brand management, and Heather Chaffin, our VP of people and culture. And we have the John Mazurkowicz, who's been our president for the last 7 years. This is his last banquet as president, so please give him a big hand.
I thought it was made out to me.
So congratulations, Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. This $22,500 goes directly to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame for things like the WOW, for scholarships, for fish habitat, however Barbara Bowman and the board decides to use it. So congratulations. So
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool recognition of that. So that went for 22,500. And then one of the cool things that I was able to do was I ordered 2 of the top waters, and I happened where I was sitting, I was kind of helping run some. We'll get to that in a minute. I was helping run some stuff. Speaking of which, so I got the Roland Martin spook right there with the autograph, and I had not met Roland Martin since I was 13 years old. That was the last time that I had met him at the Bassmaster Classic when I was there for casting kids. But I had a silver and a gold Sharpie, and I went there with a mission. Now, I'm not an autograph seeker since it is my job to be in the industry, but there are certain moments where
You have to take advantage of it.
you take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So I was able to get the Frank Scalish painted Super Spook, and then I actually got Roland Martin to sign the top of it. How sick is that? So that's a bait that you designed for the Hall of Fame that I'm a member of the board on, and then Roland Martin signed that bait. That's really cool. But one of the coolest was after they'd taken a picture of all of the Hall of Famers. I should have had that photo. I can have that photo pulled up here in a second. But I got the Rick Clunn, the one that everybody's wanting to throw, and I had him sign it in gold.
Yeah, that's money, dude.
And I'm going to make my own shadow box out of that. So it was freaking so cool. It was so cool to see those guys there, you know, the Larry Nixon and Murray and Roland and Rick. It was a really, really cool moment. And I would imagine kind of a little bit full circle for you too, like somewhere where you probably didn't see yourself 5 years ago being there doing that.
No, dude, I didn't see myself doing a podcast either.
Yeah. So this is one of the coolest photos, and I'm going to frame it there. That's us at the banquet afterwards. That's you holding that lure that you designed that he had just signed. And there is the legend himself, Rick Clunn.
I have to be honest with you. Clunn is very stoic. He knows his accomplishments. But he's very humble. He's a very unique individual. He's very unique for sure. But you know, I got to meet the Murray brothers, Bobby and Billy, and the funniest thing on earth is Bobby's brother comes up to me. He's like, "Look what I got." Bruce calls me and Chad calls me to come over there, and he's like, "Look what I got. You're never going to believe this." And he reaches in his suit pocket and he pulls out the very first original hand-carved Big O.
What?
Square bill. Yeah.
He had it with him?
Yeah, dude, I didn't tell you
What?
that?
No.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I didn't tell you.
No.
Oh, you're gonna lose
You
your
should have
mind.
called me over to see it.
I know. So I know.
I'm
know,
a big
dude.
O nut.
I'm an
That
idiot.
sounded weird, but
So here, that is I'm actually holding the very first hand carved original Big O. Listen to this. He
like
was
the Fred Young Big O.
yeah, like the first one ever made. Okay, it wasn't made for that was the prototype. That was the first one. It had the carving marks in it and everything. So listen to this. So Billy's showing it to me and he's telling me the story, and I have it in my hand, and I have it in my hand, and I'm literally looking at it and going through it, and it's in my hand, and he's telling me it's the only one. It's the only one that's around. There's no other one. It is the absolute 100% first one. I'm holding it, and he's going through how he was sitting on the picnic table, and whoever was carving it, and they were looking at it, and he was taking more wood off of it, carving it, doing his thing. And so while he's telling me the story, I just take it. I have it. I take it, and I slip it into my pocket. And I go, it's so valuable. I said, how could you lose it? And you should have seen everybody standing there was like,
You tried to steal the first Big O.
I was pretending to
I know,
steal
but
yeah,
oh my
dude,
gosh.
can you imagine what that bait is worth to a collector?
Invaluable. I mean, that's like it's like for a crankbait, guys. I mean, that's the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, that's it.
It is the one.
Yeah,
All right.
It was cool. Anyway, I digress.
So here we go. So this is where the story gets good. So there was also a silent auction side part to this, which you had just the 5 in the shadow box that you had done, which went and everybody could bid on. But the Hall of Fame took 5 of those originals, and then you had 5 original drawings, one for each bait. And unbeknownst to you or any of us, someone on the hall or someone at Pradco, or maybe Bruce, it was probably Bruce, because he
was
he had a fondness. Oh, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They matted it all out to where you had the 5 original drawings with the colors and all that. And then they did a live auction with Mercer and an auctioneer up there. And then the 3 guys that were calling the auction in the crowd were Skeet Reese, Kevin Van Dam, and Hank Parker.
Yeah.
So quick backstory. So Barbara Bowman, who basically runs the Hall of Fame, does a ton. She said, hey, you're in charge of making sure that the live auction goes off smooth. I met with Mercer. I met with the auctioneer. I had all 4 of you guys. There were 4 items that were live auctioned off, and we had a live mic. And the whole point of it was, hey, they're going to get the auction going, and then they'll throw it to the guy. It'll be like, hey, I hand, these are the hand original drawings for the 25th anniversary. And then that would make people want to bid on it more and whatnot.
Right.
So,
and the original, actually the original run, my original paint jobs.
Yeah, that was the original paint job. So the first one, Bowman had a stump of wood that he found at Lake 10 Killer, and he did some watercolors with it. Anyway, he's on the mic, so they're auctioning it off, and Brandon Polinick is actually walking around showing it off and stuff like that, right? So Bowman's in the back, and there's, oh, Steve Bow, oh yeah, I found this piece of wood, it's invaluable, blah blah blah, all good, everything's good. So you're up second, so I have you in the back of the room.
Yeah.
And the whole game plan was for Polinick to take this massive piece, and I actually have a video of this that we're going to show, to take this massive piece of artwork up to the front, you to follow Brandon Polinick up to the front, them to get the auction going, then Mercer to go, oh, there's Frank Scalish, who actually designed, who did it. These are the original paint jobs. You could do your spiel about it, and it would do it. So you can see me. I'm going to throw this video up right here, and then we actually have a special guest that's going to add to this that you are unaware of. So here,
I'm always
here's
unaware.
the video. So there's there's the piece right there. So look how big that is. That's not a piece that you just stroll around the route. Like you get that somewhere and you set it down. So that's Brandon Polinick. Look at him. He barely hold it. There's you. So look at you. I'm giving you instruction right now as to like, hey, this is the moment. I said that mic is live. So
yeah, what you told me was you said, follow him and answer questions.
right. So you could see. So right here, there's Polinick. I think he's going up to the front, and we've got a shot from the front here in a middle bit. He can barely carry. There's me, and I said, boom, go. See, look, watch this right here. Back inside. I say, go, follow. And you said, okay. Right there. Boom, go. Look, I was actually pretty smooth. I thought I was running the show right there.
For a minute, you were running it good.
Okay. So now we have to go. This is what I was trying to get on. So now we have to go to the second shot of this, which is the auction feed for the Hall of Fame. I'm not exactly sure where this is in here.
3,000, now 3,050. Would it be 3,550? 25 out of 500. I got 5 lures.
Okay, here it is.
Right here.
Signed by Frank Scalish.
Signed.
Host of Day
We got
4.
audio.
Very, very popular web show.
And there's not a...
Whoa, we got a freaking mention from Dave Mercer on the show.
We got a shout out
At the Hall of Fame. Well, let's just bring Dave Mercer in right now, who is actually filming on location at the lake to get his perspective of this. Thanks for jumping on, Dave.
Well, thanks for having me. And of course you got a shout out. It's freaking day 4.
dude. I appreciate you, man.
Well, it was one of the coolest things, maybe the coolest thing that was up for bid. But so thank you for doing it. And it's incredible the amount of money it's raised. But Panger, artists get very near and dear to things.
Yes.
And Frank clearly was, because he looked like freaking security following that thing through. All he was missing is an earpiece and just looking around and a darker suit, because he just, most artists said some nice words. Frank he was security.
I said nothing.
So I'm running it in quiet in the background. And what you notice here is Brandon Polinick has not made his way up front. Frank Scalish has not made his way up front.
No.
I am still in the back of the room. And instead of going up front, Polinick takes a hard left and starts weaving in and out of the 300 plus attendees.
Yeah.
With Frank Scalish just following him with the mic like this. Now it's kind of dark out here. And if you watch Dave, and I've been doing it, you're going to see here in a second, look at Dave looking at the back of the room right here with a perplexed look on his face. I am in the back of the room and I am waving my hands. And right now, that's when you notice that I was trying to tell you something, right, Dave?
I had no idea what you were trying to say, but it's like the world's worst game of charades. And I had no idea. I knew you were trying something to me, but I had no idea what it was.
So there he's like, I don't know what he's saying right there, but something's going on. So what you're going to see here in a brief moment, and they're going to pan out. Hopefully I can get this.
That is so funny.
There's a bidding war going on right now. And Frank, for the last 4 minutes here, has just been following Brandon Polinick. That Mercer's still trying to figure. Look at him. He's looking at me, trying to figure out what in the hell I'm saying. And I'm saying, that's Frank. I'm saying, that's Frank. He's got the mic. That's Frank. And this thing is skyrocketing up to $4,000+. And there's 3 times here. Let's see if we got all.
Like like this, 4,100 but 4,100. You're creating a legacy. 4,100. What do you mean 4,100? 4,100 but 4,100.
Watch this. Watch.
4,100. 4,100 last call.
Just
4,100 all day.
brief.
35, 50. 4,100.
You'll see Frank's head.
4,100
Here
last
comes
call.
Polinick.
4,100 all done. 4,100. Sold it $4,000 right back here.
Hey.
3,600 but 3,600.
Okay, we got to watch this.
You said 4,000.
Anyway, all you see on the feed is Frank's head getting followed around by Brandon Polinick.
Don't shake your head like this. Shake your head like this. 4,100 but 4,100. You're creating a legacy. 4,100. What do you mean 4,100?
No.
4,100, 4,100, 4,100, 4,100,
There.
4,100,
Head.
4,100.
See the head
4,100 last
following?
call. 40.
That's Frank just following all the way
Uh-oh.
around. Mercer just got a call.
Oh,
But
no. He'll be back. He'll be back.
me and you talk about doing the shows and doing the public stuff and all that. And I think we both suffer from like crowd anxiety. I'm not going to say that I am not. And I felt so bad, Frank, because I literally set you out
To the dogs.
I set you out to the dogs and you never got a chance to say because the bidding went up so fast.
Yeah.
The plaque didn't get to go up front, but we had a good laugh about it afterwards.
Oh, it was hilarious. Well, the thing is once the auction started on that piece, there was in the beginning there was like 3 or 4 people going for it, and I think towards the end it wound up to be 2 or 3 people going for it. And here's the crazy thing: the bidding was going so fast that at that point in time I'm like, I'm not going to stop the momentum, so I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah.
Because if I cut into it, I could kill the whole whatever. You know.
Yeah, the vibe, the momentum.
Yeah, so Dave, I gotta tell you something, Dave.
Please
My
do.
wife laughed so hard with your monologues that she was literally crying laughing. That was some of the funniest stuff that I have ever heard in a long time, and you took some risks. You kind of went out on the edge, and it was priceless, dude. Priceless. I'm giving you a hat off, even though I don't have a hat on. I'm giving you a hats off, man. It was a good job.
Thank you. Evidently, she was drinking, but whatever. I mean, I'm not a proud man, whether it's alcohol or whatever's induced. As long as you were entertained, it was a fun night.
Very entertained, dude. You were funnier than hell. I laughed my brains out, man.
No,
You didn't show up at the after party, though. I tried to taunt
Mm-hmm.
you into. You were super responsible.
Yeah, dude. I
3-hour
was.
drive since Frank hates airplanes.
Yeah, I was responsible. I was kind of tugged in both directions. I kind of wanted to go, and knew if I went, what price I would pay the next day. So I didn't.
I hear you.
Well,
Me and Panger weren't responsible.
No, not at all. Are you at liberty to say where you are and what you're filming today?
Underwater stuff, and I'm on one of
sweet.
my little hidey holes. So, near the St. Lawrence River. So yeah, I'm about to get in the water. I'm about to sausage my fat ass into a wetsuit so that we can look at fish.
That is so
fantastic. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on and added a different perspective and your support of the Hall of Fame. And great to see you this past week. And check out the Mercer podcast just dropped with the Great Dane, Emil Wagner.
Yeah.
A fantastic podcast. So thanks, Dave.
Outstanding, dude. Take it easy, man. Good job.
Can we get a Instagram short of you getting
Sorry
into
for
the wet?
screwing it up.
Nothing was
nobody
screwed up.
wants that. No, that's OnlyFans. No, I screwed this up.
Short.
Every time I do a podcast, I give people trouble for not putting their phone on Do Not Disturb because it screws up. And that's why I kind of dropped out, because I'm not evidently good at giving orders. But Frank, you're good at taking orders. He said to follow, and gosh damn it, you followed.
Oh, I was.
See you guys.
See you, my man.
There you go. Just a little check in from the man himself, Dave Mercer.
That's outstanding, dude.
Yeah. We had a good laugh about it. But I had so much anxiety because I knew that if you had set me on the wild goose chase, I would have been going, that son of a gun. Like, I just do not want to be following this around. People don't know what's going on. They're like, who's following this guy? So I felt bad emotionally being like, oh, I put you in a pickle.
No,
I thought you were just going straight up front.
Well, here, to be honest with you, I was so focused on your directions that I didn't even know that was Paulina carrying it.
Oh,
I legitimately until it was gone and we put it back on the table. That's when I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Brandon carrying it. You know what I mean? That's how tunnel vision, man.
It was freaking fun though. It was cool though. So the cool thing was, I think that will end up at Pradco again.
Yeah. Yeah. They bid on it. They wanted it. And I was actually at very humbling experience, man. I put a lot of work into designing these baits. They put a ton of work into trying to reproduce my designs. Everybody works so hard. There's a gal there, Maria. She does a fantastic. Who's the third guy following us around?
That's the photographer.
Everybody's following us. Yeah, and they do such a good job there. It was very humbling and very flattering that they wanted that, and they wanted it bad. That's pretty cool. The reality of it is that between the Hall of Fame lures that we made and the shadow box, we almost raised $30,000 for the Hall of Fame.
That is fantastic, man. That is fantastic, and it's cool. Like I said, we don't get to hang out very often, so it was cool. I saw you at the President's tailgate in the southeast corner of the Hilton parking lot.
And that's the first time Rach and Courtney ever met.
Yeah, no, it was cool, but it was awesome to see Skeet roll up and be like, "Oh, holy cow, Frank Scalish," and to see Kevin roll up and be like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Giving you a hard time, and kind of all the old school guys. So hopefully you can make it a yearly deal.
Yeah, we're working on it. I'm actually, to be honest with you, and I don't know if the cat's out of the bag or I'm going to let it out. I'm working on baits for next year, Hall of Fame right now as we speak. I've got 2 of the illustrations done. I think I'm doing 4 next year, and I got 2 more to do illustration wise, and then I'll get the baits next week, and I'll have to apply color and get them in because it takes a long time to get them made and produced and sold. So the deadline is right now. I mean, it's crunch time.
All right, we wanted to talk a little fishing, and we actually have some time to slide it in. So this is this topic that we're going to talk about is a little bit of it's a situational topic. It's an unforeseen topic, but we talk about summer fishing. We talk about fall fishing. We talk about transition fishing. We talk about the turnover. You talk about the migration of the fish. You talk about the pelagics meeting the residentials on the structure and all that. What you haven't talked about is when it's supposed to be fall turnover, when it's supposed to be late, and it is a lingering season where the fish have the daylight and their instincts are telling them to do one thing, but the water, hello.
Hey. Everyone's getting in the act.
It's a chaotic day today. But the water is still saying it's summer. The graph of the information is still saying there's a thermocline. The bait is still acting like it's summer. So let's touch on what a lot of the country is focusing on that I know you have really kind of dove into over the past couple weeks, which is lingering seasons. Did just put the claws right in their back?
Yeah, because this cat loves me and I'm happy about it. But it has to be near me all the time, no matter what. So to the point where when I'm making lures, I have to have another chair next to me so she could sit in the chair next to me.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I've been pulling my hair out clearly over this. Where I live, once we get to decrease in water temperatures, the lakes flip. About a week and a half goes by and everything is off the chart. It's fishing. It is pure 100% game on fishing. This year, the water temperatures dropped, then they went back up. A couple of the lakes turned, most of them haven't turned. And it's like, it was mind blowing. I mean, when Troy came down here, we caught a lot of bass, but we didn't catch giants. We had one day where we caught a few good ones. We didn't catch giants. We were catching them doing a little bit of everything. We encountered a moon phase It was crazy. So I hadn't fished since he left. So for what, about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. I went yesterday for the first time. The lake I chose hadn't flipped yet. The thermocline was hardcore in 22 feet of water, and it was so prevalent.
I mean, when was the last time you saw a thermocline in Ohio, Frank? In October?
Not to my knowledge. Okay, normally they flip, and then our fall fishing goes bonanza, and so that's what I was expecting. And I went out, and when I was idling off the boat ramp, I went, "What?" You know what I mean? I was like, "What?" That is so. It was so hard to find, and the coolest thing, I will say, the coolest thing was the bait fish. Some of them were plastered right on top of the thermocline where they normally ball up real nice and big. They were literally flat on the thermocline, and they came up almost like a triangle off of it. It was so unique.
So
And
I saw that in Oklahoma this year, a ton, where you were catching bass that it appeared to be as though they were using the thermocline as an ambush point.
Yeah, almost like a structural element, 100%, 100%. So I see the thermocline. So I'm like, okay, there's bait fish shallow too. There was bait fish all over this place. There was bait fish shallow too. So I went shallow, and I started throwing a spook around, because normally in the fall, your topwater gamble in the morning will pay off, and it will pay off with big dividends. So I'm rifling a spook around, and I got nothing. I'm not even getting one to like roll on the damn thing. But when I'm working the spook, I could see bait fish skipping. So I'm like, what's going on? So I pick up a chatterbait, throw the chatterbait out there. We're getting close. So during the beaver moon, do we all got to go meet at Buc-ee's? So at any rate, so I pick up a chatterbait. I catch a couple on a chatterbait. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I know they're going to be chasing baits. So I know we can do this. And I go down, and I'm barely catch another one on it. I'm like, what gives, man? So I get on the break line from 8 to 12 feet, and I start throwing a Norman DD22 and a Norman Deep Little N in my color Envy that I painted. And I start catching fish, and I'm like, all right, I can do this. This is easy peasy. And I'm not catching any big ones. So I'm like, man, what am I missing? So I pull out the flipping stick, and I go, I better keep them honest. I got to go start flipping grass, wood, docks, whatever's around. I got to start flipping it, because what if they're shallow? So I go in there, I get one good one on, and it gets boogered up in all the grass, and I'm trying to pull it out of the grass, and the fish comes off. So I don't even know how big was. All I know is when he bit and I loaded up on him, it wasn't, a 2-pounder. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to go through all this crap, and I got to go flipping, because I might be missing something. So I go retrace all my steps again, and I go through the whole thing again. And no, I can't catch another one on flipping. Everything came on crankbaits. 90% of the bass came on crankbaits, no big ones. A handful came on a chatterbait, no big ones. And so I said, I had about an hour left to fish, and I said, I'm going to go deep, and I'm just going to go start live scoping. Like, not the way I live scope, but the way Matt live scopes.
Yeah, look to see if they're in a more of a fall transition where they're already out just chasing bait.
Right. So I go out, and I'm going over the abyss, and I'm doing all the things, and there's bait everywhere. plastered to the freaking thermocline halfway up the water column, but I'm not seeing anything floating around it. I'm not seeing the bait give you the arc where there's a couple of bass underneath it. I'm not seeing none of it. I wound up getting a couple traditionally scoping, but they were, in all honesty, they were relating to the bottom structure and not the bait fish. And it blew me away. And I got off the water and I was very frustrated, even though I'm starting to figure something out. But I was very frustrated because I have been on big fish all year. And that was my goal, was to target big ones. And the last 4 times out, it has been so hit or miss on the big giant ones that it's literally got me spinning out a little bit. This time of year, I'm not, I don't want to say I don't know what to do, but I'm either fishing too much history and not just blindly going out and starting from the beginning, which is what I always recommend doing. But my time frame was so short yesterday that I just had to fish history. And the only time I just didn't was the last hour of the day. And then I was punching myself in the forehead because originally when I went out there, I was going to do nothing but chase bait. And I didn't, because it was so windy that I took an easy way out. And I was very mad at myself for doing that. Very mad.
But I mean, it sounds like you went through the progression, though.
I did, but late. You know what I mean? I was stubborn because I know how the lake fishes otherwise really well, and I was really stubborn. And when I went out and found those fish, I was so mad at myself. I was like, oh my gosh, I should have fought the wind, even though it was a pain in the neck. I should have fought the wind, did the hard thing. I would have come out of there with a healthy limit of fish. Instead, I caught little fish, and I say little fish, I'm talking 2.5 pounds or less. It was a fun day. I mean, it was fun. I was catching them, but it wasn't what I wanted. And I settled, and I'm very upset at myself for doing it.
Yeah, it happens this time of the year. I feel like everyone wants to talk about how good the fall fishing is, but that time leading up to the fall fishing, sucks.
Fall fishing.
I mean, it does.
Yeah,
it sucks.
It just does. I mean, to be honest with you, once the lakes turn over, that's the bonanza. That's the bonanza.
Not immediately once it turns over, but after it turns over and settles.
Yeah, you got to give it a week or two.
Yeah, Dougie Fresh, Frank, thank you for answering my question. The week before on day 4, won a championship because of it. You know what to do.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so it's crazy though. I mean, it's just crazy. You can't get pigeonholed. Don't pigeonhole yourself, guys. I've done it the last 3 times out, and I don't know if it's because I got complacent and lazy, or if it's because I was so sure that I was going to be right on the money, because normally I went through all my photos here. I went through all of my photos for the last 4 or 5 years. This time of year, this week frame, none of it's going on right now.
Yeah, I do that too. That's the one good thing about Instagram, is you can go back and be like, when did I catch that fish? And you can be like, oh, it was this exact date.
Yes.
And look, I'm wearing a beanie and gloves.
Yeah, 100%. And yesterday I'm in shorts and a t-shirt.
That's why I pulled it up. I mean, it's going to be 80 for the next 3 or 4 days in the Cleveland area.
Oh yeah, dude. This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but it's fun. It's fun. But if you talk to Frankie, he'll tell you I had one foot in the shrink's office, because I was like, I'm driving home and I'm talking to him and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I knew better. You know what I mean? And it's like,
there's nothing worse than beating yourself up after a day on the water. There's times where you just don't get bit, you suck, and it does not bother me because I feel like I went through my progression. My timing was off. I didn't get bit. Maybe I lost it. Like it just wasn't my day. And then there's other times where there's a bite out there. You fight internally with yourself. You try to go through the progression. You try to do the right thing. It just never gets settled in, and you get off the water, and it's just unsettling.
Yeah, because that's exactly right. Like I did do the progressions. I did the shallow, the mid range, the edge lines. The first breaks, the second breaks. I went through the progression, but in the back of my head, I knew when I idled off the ramp and saw what I saw, I knew immediately what I should be doing, and it was really windy, and I just honestly, I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go catch largemouth and do my thing, and I'll just, I copped out, man. It is a cop out. It was a mental cop out. I'm mad at myself.
What it is. I think everybody just has bad days. I'm sure, if you play pickleball 5 days a week, there's going to be a day where you just can't pickle your ball.
That's true. Except I have a saying, okay? Like I never say, oh my God, that lake fish tough, because there's going to be somebody that fished the same lake on the same day that goes, isn't this the greatest fishery on earth? So I never think the lake's tough. I think that I think what happens is you don't make the right decisions and it becomes tough. And so I don't accept the excuse that the lake was fishing tough. And as an angler, that's a hard road to hoe, because you beat yourself up to death over it when you.
Chuck said, do you ever get miffed that they always bite on the same old stuff, aka wacky rig, instead of something more fun?
No, I don't, because there's certain baits that just produce fish, and here every fishery has a nuance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a place that I could go and I can throw a Ned Dinger or a wacky rig and catch them, no matter what, and catch them. What I noticed is the size of the fish you're catching will change. If you stay with the true bait that always catches them, your size of fish will change. Where if you're there at the right time, you're catching giant ones doing it, and if you're there at the wrong time, you're catching a lot of smaller ones doing it. But every lake has nuances to them, and if you're fortunate enough to live by a lake and it's your local lake, you know what colors you need, you know what baits you need. And the only problem is the location. You just got to figure out the location. Like I've got lakes dialed in color wise. Where I live, I could literally, if I know I'm going to a specific lake, I could eliminate 3/4 of the colors out of my boat. I'm just like, all I need is this color. You know what I mean? Soft plastic and hard bait wise.
I'm debating how we work this in here. So, the beaver moon is a thing. It's a full beaver moon, and it's coming up in November.
November what?
Says, quote, watch for November's full beaver supermoon. It's a full beaver supermoon, not a full beaver moon, not a beaver supermoon. It's a full beaver supermoon. It is the Wednesday, November 5th at 5 a.m. It reaches its peak illumination of Wednesday, November 5th at 8:19 a.m. Now, I was going to suggest that we roll that into the October 30th show and we do a beaver moon celebration day but I will be in Jamaica.
Outstanding. Yeah, we'll have to go over the days that you're going to be.
So we might have to do a post beaver moon show.
Oh, we're going down a slippery slope.
That's what I said. There's nothing inappropriate in that statement, but it just sounded wrong coming out of my mouth.
unless you own Reaction Innovations.
Yeah, that's the old Andre Moore deal. So, all right, we covered a lot on today's show. Apologize for the haphazardness with which we got the show underway, but I feel like we recovered nicely. Big shout out to Dave Mercer for jumping on, taking the time to do that. I don't think a lot of people realize all that facts of fishing, the underwater footage and stuff.
Yeah,
that is Dave
great.
Mercer in a wetsuit. That's getting
scary.
that photography.
That's good. I'm telling you what, some of the underwater footage they get is really good.
Jeff is a
Jeff is on. Jeff is on
Jeff's
today,
a big fan of the supermoon. Yes, we must celebrate the supermoon. Nothing like a beaver moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Pumpkin spice beaver. Trailer Rick, I think I dated her in high school. Halloween beaver sounds great.
Okay, here we go.
Here
we go.
Dorothy, just the beaver emoji. You know, the one thing I realized, Frank, is I mean, I'm middle-aged now, dude. I'm 41.
Oh, you're so old, Matt.
I'm just saying. When I started this, 21, 22 years old, 40, you got everything together. You're so mature, all of that. The childish giggling surely will be past you by then.
Are we though? I don't.
Here we are 20 years later, giggling over a good moonlit beaver.
Yeah. Laughing at a mammal.
with 100 years of experience between us, and we can't act mature about a full beaver supermoon.
There's not a chance in hell. You see the sunlight coming through the window now. You see how I'm illuminated.
Yeah, I do. Boy. That's Frank's way of saying the sun is high enough to where it's time to end the show.
No, what I'm saying is this is not our weather this time of year. I mean, I'm just trying to avoid the beaver, man.
Just so the child is grinning and laughing gets worse as you get older, Matt.
Yeah, it's like when you're not supposed to laugh, like when you're in church and something funny happens and you're not supposed to laugh. You can't hold it in at that point.
I've told that the very first shows that I ever did were with Drew Smith at the local radio station, and it was called
Beaver Moon.
No, it was called Bass Zone Live. And it covered what was going on in the outdoors in Oklahoma. So you go into the studio, you had the mic, and it'd be like, you're listening to KWFX, blah, blah, blah. And now it's time for the Basso Live Outdoor Oklahoma it wasn't Outdoor Oklahoma, but what's going on in Oklahoma in the outdoors with Drew Smith. And we were covering something. And I said something about, like, if only the weather had been better that day, I think they would have caught him. And we're live, and I'm 21 years old, and Drew goes, well, Matt, if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. And I may have told this story before out here. I was done. I had to leave the recording studio. I got a case of the Chuckles, and I could not shake them. He had to do an entire segment by himself while I was incapacitated just outside the the soundproof room. Like, the producer was like, get this freaking rookie out of here, because I'm sitting there going the background
like a true child.
Like a true child on a statewide program over just a slightly immature joke. It was like I had laughing gas.
Oh yeah, dude. Sometimes that happens. How about when have you ever drawn a blank?
Every show.
I did at the Ohio Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. They got up there and they asked me to speak, and I got up there and I completely went blank. Like completely, no. Like poof, like
no.
Yeah, dude, like I couldn't put two thoughts together to come out with a sentence. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, we talk live for hours every week, and with literally with no notes.
Yeah.
And here I am. I have to talk for 2 minutes, and I can't. So all I said, I'm like, for those of you who know me, know I'm never without words, but
This is such an honor that I
yeah,
have
I said it's an honor to be here. Thank you. And that was it. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what? How do you run out of something to say when you talk all the time?
It's fun. I enjoy the hell out of it, Frank. I really do.
I do too, man.
Before we close, just remember this dropped this morning. The Frank Scalish Signature Series. We are back in the Signature Series time of the year. The limited edition in the paint shop. The Norman Fat Boy in pumpkin spice. Hold that bad boy up in person one more time, Frank.
Yeah, we will be dropping one a month, the first Thursday of every month from now on. For 12 months. I got a lot of colors that are so they're so good.
Love it. Next show, we
could do anything you want, man.
Let's get permission to give a $50 LureNet code away so someone can buy 5, can get half of the series. No charge.
All right. Let's do it. Here,
Capital BTL 25.
Capital BTL 25
to get 15% off of it. It's under $10 already anyway.
And I'm giving us permission to give a $50 gift card away next show.
I think I'll be back on next Thursday. I'm doing that Master Angler Quest with Matt Steffen. We're fishing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're gonna try to catch muskie, pike, walleye, smallmouth, yellow perch.
Oh, you're going north, bro.
Yeah, Wisconsin, Minnesota. But they're doing it was the exact same thing. He called me and he's like, bro, it's water's freaking 75 degrees and it's 82 degrees here today. He's like, it's supposed to be 50 degrees and turnover was supposed to happen 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I had 70 plus water temperatures too. And I was like, all right, perfect. But that's okay.
All right. Also a reminder, not related to Pradco Day 4 BTL or anything, but the St. Jude Casting for a Cause. That's Frank Jr.'s. If you're in that area, Portage Lakes, Ohio.
Yeah, you got to help these
Scalish
guys.
_Jr.
You got to
raise money for St. Jude and help Frankie and Juice raise money for the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic the first week of May, Wabasha, Minnesota.
Yeah, you got to help these guys get a boat draw better than 50.
Yeah. Last year, I know they weren't expecting it. And then when they saw their boat draw, they were like, whoa, that's such a late number.
Oh, I'm going to have words with my friend Troy. We're having words.
Yeah.
He took so many pictures when he was here. I'm scared to death, dude.
You looked at his phone and you were like, what?
Dude, I had hair. Look at that hair. Look at that. Is that Italian? That is like Italian, man.
What was the routine on that? Like, did that involve a blow dryer or a comb or what? Or did it just grow like that?
It grew like that until it got really curly, and then it required a blow dryer, and then I just let it go. I said, I don't give a crap. And then I just comb it back. And the hell with it. But at one time, my hair was so curly at one time, I literally had an afro.
Really?
Yeah, and those pictures do not exist.
Oh, I highly doubt that. I bet they do.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be pressing. Don't press.
I'm not. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate your donation of time and effort to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame through the Pradco brands, through that. And it was really cool to see you get some of that recognition that you deserve, Frank, and for other people to be able to realize it and look at it. And I mean, it was the piece of the Hall of Fame auction, so much so that, here's the brochure for the induction ceremony, and one of the center pages in this is, boom, there it is right there. Did you get one of those?
Oh yeah, I got it.
The custom collaboration of the legacy lures. There you are. There's the 5 lures. So really cool. to be that big a part.
I have to say one thing in closing. The Bass Hall of Fame is a very important thing because a lot of the money goes back to our resources. Okay. Part of the reason why I really don't mind doing this is because I think it's very important to preserve the history of the sport and to understand how it changed, who changed it, what their responsibilities were for growing this sport to what we know it is today. I was very disappointed 2 years ago at the Classic when some of these younger guys didn't know who Ray Scott was, didn't know who KVD was, to name a few. There's a lot more people that they weren't aware of who they were, and that kind of struck a nerve with me because I grew up loving the sport of bass fishing. I mean, at 14 or 15 years old, okay, I knew that Bo Dowden won the St. Lawrence River flipping a black and blue jig in the eelgrass. I've never forgotten that to this day. Okay. And there's people who wouldn't know who Bo Dowden was today. And when I was at the Hall of Fame, they actually had that Classic there. You know, obviously he won it. That Classic there, and that article was there. And dang it, if I didn't remember it.
That's
Why
awesome.
are you laughing now?
No, I just said it. That's awesome. Like, it's cool. I mean, it's
important. It's just important to understand why this sport is where it is today.
I was smiling with pride. I wasn't laughing.
Gotcha.
There.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just cool. I mean, it's funny how you can't remember something that happened yesterday, but you know, something that happened 30 years ago. It's just like so fresh in your mind like that. It's all the fishing stuff too. Like, I mean, if you were to like sit down with me and go, okay, just tell me about a tournament, I could probably do the same thing with you and be like, walk me through each of your fish catches that day 15 years ago. I bet you we could both be 95% on how the day went, what the fish catches were, how big they were, what we caught them on, what we remember about each catch. And then as you go, I bet we could do that for 1,000 fish.
Yeah, it's insane. My dad used to get so mad at me. He'd be like, if you studied that half that hard in school, you'd be a straight A student. And I'd be like, yeah, well, I love fishing.
All right, let's cue up some music. You've got some late summer bass to catch. I've got a road trip to get on. So big shout out to Dave Mercer. Yeah, a lot of thanks today. Thank you to you, the time and effort. Thank you to LureNet, Pradco.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of what they're doing also is because of the support of the viewers and listeners of Day 4 and the support of Frank on that. So you guys have a legitimately, like, so they talk about, like, they are aware. They're like, dude, that is the most passionate, best fan base and viewer base around. Like I said, big shout out to Dave Mercer for jumping on for his support of the Hall of Fame and everything. And
dude, he was so funny at the end.
Yeah, no, he dialed it in, man. He brought his A game.
He did. He was so funny. I mean, he was getting away with some jokes that were just hilarious. I was laughing so hard. Rachel loved him, man. Rachel
Fantastic.
loved him.
All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank Scalish. Talk to everyone later. See ya.